Okay, just a couple of days ago, you watched a video about the first one of 4 questions that we believe that you need to ask that are going to help you dive into the future that God has for you. So many of us are being asked difficult questions as young as 8th grade. What do you want to be? Maybe even younger. What do you want to do for the rest of your life? Okay, so much so now that with our sports world, we're being told that we need to choose one sport, and that one sport is going to be the sport that we play for the rest of our life. And it's a difficult question to ask a 13-year-old. Gosh, let alone an 18-year-old. What am I going to do for the rest of my life? And I know that it's a ridiculous question even for 18-year-olds because over 60% of students in college change their major after their freshman year. You think you know until you realize you don't. And actually, I'll never forget my wife saying to me when I went into school, I knew exactly what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a pastor. I felt called to be a pastor. And she goes, you're lucky. You're the 1%. And she's right. These questions about your future, who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do are crippling. And in the first video, we asked this question, what are we supposed to become? Because God cares more about who you are becoming than what you do. And what we learned with that was this, that when you become who you're supposed to be, you will know what you're supposed to do. The second thought here is this, the decisions that you make today, this is huge. Right now, we're not talking about the future. This is not a video that gets you thinking about 10 years from now. We're talking about today. The decisions you make today that determine the stories you tell tomorrow. The decisions you make today determine the stories you tell tomorrow. That makes sense with all kinds of different things. That makes sense with the people you determine to be friends with. I've heard it say this way, you become the 5 people you're closest with. So think about it. Maybe you're in 7th grade and you're trying to figure out who your friend group's going to be. You want to be popular. You want to be a certain type of person. You're starting to think, who am I going to become? Well, look at the people you're closest with. Because the decision on who you make your friends out to be or who your friends become, that decision actually can determine the stories you tell tomorrow. And they may not be good. That's why your parents, I'm sure, have told you, be careful who you become friends with. It's a real thing. Or maybe you're a sophomore and you're being asked what classes you're going to take or what extracurricular activity you're going to be a part of. It's because you have, again, so many options that they become crippling. They become crippling. And if you're anything like me, instead of actually making the decision, you might wallow in your concerns and you go to your bed at night and you're like, I can't make a decision to save my life. I don't know. Have you ever gotten in an argument with your parents? You're like, I don't know. Ever? Me too. Well, here's the question I want you to think about right now. If it's true that the decisions you make today will determine your stories of tomorrow, today's decisions are pretty important, right? So how do you know what decisions to make? Here is the question I think you need to answer, because most of us are actually living more in a crippling mindset where we live with an anxiety and we actually don't know, or we're on the exact opposite spectrum. So there's one spectrum that's full of anxiety. I actually have no idea. And then there's the next one that says, I don't really care. I'm just going to go for it. I live more in this zone and I wish I didn't. You need to find a happy medium. And I think you can find the happy medium by asking this question. What is one decision you can make today? What is one decision you can make today that will help you make the movement in the right direction? And what kind of decision can that be? I don't know. Talk about it for just a minute. Pause the screen. It'll come back and I'll give you some ideas of what that might be. But what is one decision you can make today that will change the direction of your tomorrow? One decision. It's not that daunting. It's literally one. It can be as small or as big as you think it needs to be. But what are some ideas that you can think of what kinds of decisions it could be? It could be decisions. There's 4 different decisions that you can make. In the next 2 videos, are going to talk about these 4 different decisions. Stop, stay, go, and wait. Stop. I need to stop what I'm doing because that's bad. I need to stop it. The one decision could be stop. The second decision could be to stay. That is saying, stay the course. This is the right thing. Don't jump ship. It's easy to do. I know my greatest temptation in my life as a person who wants to achieve all the time and who is probably not as patient as other people is I just want to jump ship. I kind of feel like Jonah in the Old Testament sometimes. I'm like, nope, jumping ship, I'm out, right? And sometimes being swallowed by this big whale sounds like a better idea. Third option is to go. Maybe you just need to make the decision to go. And number 4, maybe you just need to make the decision to wait. It's not your time, and it's okay. The next 2 videos are going to help us figure out how to answer those 4 ideas. But most important on this one, I want you to consider what's one decision you can make today. Comment below one decision that you can make today. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get the next videos that are going to help you laugh and make the right decisions in your life. Love you guys.